This is fucking ridiculous. They're just out of touch with reality there. Very, very sad.
Gonna look at Jonathan Tyler Hagen's family, better known as the List or RC123, or the partner of TDOR, Transgender Day of Remembrance. This is from the 1940 census. This is Charles Hagen Sr., Charles William Hagen Jr., Donald F. Hagen is a brother, and that is Tyler's great-grandfather. Here they are, handwritten in the census. This is his great-grandmother. They're Catholics across the board. They're from Orange County, New York area. I know I have some relatives. It's on the Delaware River there between New York and Pennsylvania. So this is the William Hagen line, Charles William Hagen. And this would be the father line down here. His great-grandfather's a brother of Charles William Hagen Jr., and that splits off. So these are all the fathers down to Tyler Hagen. These over here would be the uncles, and then the cousins as you descend. Tyler's great-great-grandfather, retired Admiralty Law, who had served in special commission in connection with the claims filed by the Morro Castle disaster. He went to Cornell University in New York law. You have to understand that all these people that went to Ivy League schools, the Bushes, the Rockefellers, whoever you want to talk about, these are all the people that run America, all the families from the Ivy League. Yale, you got Skull and Crossbones. It was very hard to get into the Ivy League then. There weren't many people, there weren't many colleges. This is big time. He was with the American Expedition Forces in World War I. He practiced law for 50 years. So the Morro Castle was a ship built to go from New York to Cuba in the 1930s. The captain had a heart attack after eating, so the second in command took over. The ship caught fire and burned down, killing 137 passengers off of New Jersey. It led to the reforms in building ships and the licensing of merchant marine officers. United States Merchant Marine Academy was built because of it, and that's in Northern California, San Rafael. This is famous. There's movies about it. You can look it up. It's all over Hollywood. This Admiralty lawyer had 3 sons, Charles W. Jr., Donald F., which is Tyler's great-grandfather, and Richard A., and a daughter, Patricia Mann. So here in this lineage, we'll look at Charles William Hagen Jr., involved with the Manhattan Project. Charles William Hagen Jr. was a research assistant at the University of Chicago's Metallurgical Laboratory, the Met, during the Manhattan Project. He was a botanist. He worked on what would happen to all kinds of plant matter during a nuclear explosion. So he wrote that up. We can realize what kind of security clearance we're talking here. The Vice President of the United States at the time, Harry S. Truman, didn't even know about this. And Charles William Hagen Jr. did. Okay? This was a military operation. They kept it from the vice president. Roosevelt was informed once in a while. You got to look at the Secretary of War Stimson, who had went on vacation to Kyoto, Japan, which had all the old Zen monasteries, had been the capital, and asked them not to bomb Kyoto. That was dang nice of them. Well, they dropped the bomb because Japan was already on the way out. They were just figuring out how the emperor would be left after surrender, and they dropped the bomb to show the world and Russia that we were tough guys. There was a book written, The Dragon's Tail, Radiation Safety, the Manhattan Project, 1942 to 46. He also went to Cornell University. He was a legacy from his father at Cornell. These are his papers you can go and look at. He did his grad work at the University of Indiana. All right, so there's some more information on him. He received prestigious grants, the Guggenheim and the Fulbright. This guy was big time. See, his father served as a military advocate during World War I. He was a signer of the Szilard petition. Szilard was a Hungarian-German-American physicist who worked on it, worked with Fermi, did the nuclear chain reaction in 1933, wanted them not to drop the bomb on Japan, had a bunch of them sign papers, and it never got to Truman before they dropped the bomb. Secretary of War was Henry Stimson. This is Lieutenant Leslie Richard Groves. What did he do? He oversaw the construction of the Pentagon, which was a fortress, and then it was, security was upped right before a plane went right through it. And I did that video with Adam Green and Ryan Dawson being full of it. So what did Groves do? As director of the Manhattan Project also, he sought evidence of unlawful behavior against Szilard. Most of the signers lost their jobs in weapons work, but the Charles William Hagens did not. Who else worked on it? John G. Trump, Trump's uncle, Donald Trump's uncle, who was with the OSS, worked at MIT, and he translated Tesla's papers when the OSS confiscated them, took them from Tesla when he died. Okay, who else is Trump? Marianne Trump Barry, Trump's sister, was an American attorney, former United States Circuit Judge of the United States Court of Appeals of the Third Circuit, appointed by Bill Clinton, his enemy, Trump's enemy, Bill Clinton. Okay, she stepped down and retired instead of facing ethics charges. Could you believe she's related to Donnie? Come on now. This guy was also involved, and I did a video on it. He made his money. He's Henry Stimson's cousin, Secretary of War. They both got super rich on Wall Street when the utility companies went public and were traded on Wall Street. He was interested in physics. He set up a lab in Tuxedo Park, New York, and worked with all these guys that worked on the Manhattan Project. That's the deal. And here's some information on him. One of his descendants was Reed Hastings, who started Netflix and was the CEO. Another one was his son, who was the voice of America during Vietnam. Let's look at Charles William Hagen III down here. He was an engineer at the cyclotron, and he went to Indiana University. He also was a former engineer at the Naval Avionics Facility, former computer engineer at Lockheed Martin Military Industrial Complex, worked for the United States Air Force. That's his family. And one of his brothers was David Hagen. He went to MIT. That would be Tyler's cousin. Here's all the information and genealogy about